I mean, yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah,
let's.
so we can go ahead and start if you guys, because if this is the majority, then yeah, we can go ahead and start then.
Well, we'll get more. Like the important thing about streaming is you want to like have a show, and then you get more people who get into it.
Right,
That's the
right.
beauty of streaming. You just want to do it as long as possible to build an audience. And we are live. Welcome, Friday night people who Fray fans, lovers of SCP 5K. Most of the team is been at GDC, but luckily I am still here, and I am here with Vasil Rodriguez, also known as Vennie, who is one of the cinematic artists who produces all of those wonderful, amazing devlogs and works on the cinematic trailers. Vasil, take it away. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get started making these awesome title screens? And yes, these title screens that you're looking at right now are also your handiwork as well.
Yeah, absolutely. If we're gonna go talk about the main menu, so we'll be talking about the main menu at some other time, probably later in the stream. But yeah, no, I think so. The main menu was one of the first things I officially worked on as a lighting artist and one of the cinematic artists for 5K, which is what you're looking at now. We'll actually go in the editor and we'll check it out. But the main reasoning for the stream is just to sort of quickly gloss over like how our trailers are made, what camera angles we use, and actually what we use to film them in game. We actually have a built-in spectator camera, if those of you who don't know, and it's free to use for everyone. It's not some sort of hidden developer tool. It's there for everyone to use, and
Oh
I don't
my
think a lot of
god!
people.
There is a spectator cam, so you can go home and make your own machinima. And it's not even like a gate kept. It's not like Dragon's Dogma 2, where you have to pay $5.99. You can use it right now, and Vennie Vasil Rodriguez is going to show you how you can access the spectator cam tonight.
Absolutely, yeah. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and start up a game, and I'll show everyone here how what the process is for us going and shooting video content. So first things first, usually when it comes to shooting video or devlog, obviously we choose a scene with what like for example, if we're shooting an update video, then we want to be showcasing what the update is about, what areas, what character models, things like that. And normally we get player four, a group of four, so that way we can get first person shots, like at this kind of angle, as well as we go into our JCam. And again, this is something that is available to everyone. This is not a developer tool. Excuse me, I guess it is a developer tool, but it's available for everyone. And as long as you're a host of any game of 5K, then you can do this. You can do this by hitting Shift J, and it immediately teleports you into the spectator camera. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Shift J again, and you're back in the game. So hitting Shift J allows you to be in the spectator camera. And again, so this is 100%. Anyone can use this as long as you're a host of the game. Then you're allowed to do this. If someone wants to make you an admin of the server, then you're also able to do this. But I'm going to quickly go over some of the tools and the settings we have here so far. So what we have here, the first setting is speed, which allows us, obviously, again, very similar to no clip, go back and forth, go as fast as you want, as slow as you want. Because I guess the whole angle of this live stream as a whole is to sort of convince and to see who's really interested in making content, taking photos, stuff. I know we have a few people in the community already who do take lots of photos and cinematics and stuff like that, and I feel like the more people know about this tool, the more we can get of that, and the more sort of creative people out in the community. So anyways, so if we want to go down to our next setting, which is FOV, pretty self-explanatory, field of view, zooming in, zooming out, that kind of thing, if you want to get a close-up shot. And then, of course, below that, we have roll. And roll is essentially, what that does is that it basically just roll is tilt. So if you want to get crazy, whoa, going down the hallway like The Shining, well, that's pretty crazy. And you can do stuff like that, and so that's what we usually do. Like, so this is like the Dutch angle camera that a lot of our trailers have. We get lots of hallway shots of like the players running around shooting people. In a normal circumstances, this would be basically all there is, but there's actually a lot more settings. So if you're in spectator camera and you want to even have more settings, you simply have to hit tab. And this is the settings menu for the camera system. What we have here is colors, like color grading, saturation. If you aren't tech savvy when it comes to editing, you can 100% edit this. You can do whatever you want. The same settings we just discussed are right here. So say you don't know how to go through this menu, the settings are right here. The exact same settings. So what we'll do is we'll actually go over a couple of these settings. Not going to be too long, but so we'll go over to our first tab, which is display. Pretty self-explanatory. You're able to add a slight tint or switch the temperature of the screen. Probably wouldn't want to mess with this too much. If you know color correction when it comes to video editing, say if you have a scene like this where it's very green, and you'd want to make it more warm to sort of match your tone or blue, that's a little intensive. So we'll go ahead and we'll reset it and keep it here. Of course, brightness, same thing. If you want to make it so you're able to get more detail if you are editing, or if you want to get more detail in screenshots, you know go up and down with the brightness settings. Of course, we have tint down below, which acts pretty similar. Just get some nice green here. And we'll go ahead and switch over to the next section, which is color. Again, pretty self-explanatory. Lots. You're able to tweak colors any way you want: saturation, intensity, vibrance, that kind of thing. So we can desaturate it, black and white, or make it very intense, or we can hue shift a little bit. So these are technically just sort of hue shifting. If we go down here, I don't think these are working at the moment, but they should be.
Friendly Pigeon
Yeah,
says,
so you get the picture.
I didn't know this, and I was a backer since beta day one. So what you're showing here is a whole set of new features. So generally, when you're recording, is it kind of like you have to have like 4 people in a play session? Like you can't record without having like other player actors, or you can, but you're just limited to like kind of like looking at the scenery.
Precisely. It really comes down to that. Obviously, again, if we're filming a trailer, we ideally want to show as many people on the screen as we can, like showing a group of 4, or sometimes even more than that. Usually, if we actually did a play test recently with some of the community. We usually ask them to help out with recording sessions, and we can actually go over some of those clips afterwards. But so we can go ahead and actually finish the settings here. And so this is where it gets very interesting. So depth of field, again, not if you guys aren't tech savvy with film, depth of field is basically focusing, how the human eye focuses. So what we'll go ahead and do is we'll turn on depth of field first of all, so then we get that setting. And yes. And so what this means now is obviously we are auto-focusing on. So if you aren't able to, or if you aren't very good, or if you want very specific, on the go kind of filming, sort of guerrilla filming, then you can turn on autofocus. And so now if I come over here, so notice how now the background is now completely out of focus, and we zoom in more. So the camera is now going back and forth between focusing on the wall and that wall over there. And so this is the cool thing, is that as I'm flying around, it's gonna focus on the closest thing to the screen via a trace trigger. So I've used this quite a bit. It's very helpful when we don't have time to like manually focusing on certain people during playtesting, because obviously if they're running and gunning, we have to get that footage and we have to make sure they're in focus and not. So this is, again, a very, very cool thing. If you want to try out and film this, I highly recommend it. And of course, for people who want it, again, people who are maybe very, I guess, photo oriented, who aren't big into filmmaking, we can go back to the depth of field and we can turn off autofocus. So now we have the aperture here, which aperture is essentially, the lower the aperture, the more blurry the background is. So we have it set to f1, which is extremely low. So if we go here and we take the focus distance, which we use to rack focus, we notice here that now everything is extremely blurry. If we come up to the wall, we notice the wall is now in focus, but there's a very tiny amount. So if we raise the aperture to, let's go ahead and select f2.8. F2.8 is usually like film standard, at least in the industry. So now it's less blurry, and we're able to focus more on the wall. And again, so we can rack focus. So say we want a very like a stylized photo like of say we're focusing on 1.7. Actually, let's go ahead and do this. Actually, hang on. Let's do an example. We'll go ahead and spawn 173. Is he gonna spawn in? I don't think he's gonna spawn in.
I feel like
spawn,
it will.
Oh, 173. There we go.
It's hard because he like disappears when he doesn't have something to focus on.
He does. Yeah. So we'll use him. Oh, so this is actually a very good shot. So we'll use him as an example. So we'll go ahead and rack our focus, and we'll make the focus extremely. Yeah, look at that. And then we're gonna zoom in on him. Oh. We're gonna zoom in, and we rack our focus towards him. And there he is. We have a perfect screenshot right here for trailers, thumbnails, anything we want. Not the best lighting, but listen, the option is there. So another really, really cool feature of, of our cinematic tools. And again, completely available to anyone. There's no hidden features, stuff like that. So what we'll do is we'll actually go into our next tab. Oh, next tab. If it's going to let me. Okay, frame. So this is another very interesting one. So say you aren't very video oriented, or like again very video editing, sort of run on the go. Say you want black bars on this scene to make a trailer or like make some sort of video for the game. So you can go ahead and simply turn on frame, and by default you're not going to get anything, but we have two options here: vertical and horizontal. So vertical obviously is up and down. So say you want to make something for Instagram, like something, say Isaac would want to make for some sort of social media video. We would simply hit vertical and we would increase the size. So now we have black bars, and you don't have to do any video editing to add in these black bars. Although they're pretty they're pretty easy to add in, like regardless. Now you can simply record your video in our engine or in the game and not have to do any external editing, just drag and drop. So now we got a super good looking shot of 173, maybe looking at the player or something like that, and now we have super cool black bars. Quickly though, I will say quickly before, because I feel like this is going to be an interesting question. If you want to hide your HUD, because obviously you don't want this little HUD in the bottom of the screen, if you want to hide everything to get these shots, you simply hit backspace. So now all we have is our screen and our black bars. So now we can film anything we want, go in the room, get all the cool shots we want, up, down, left, right, center. So
if you want your HUD back, do you hit backspace to bring it back, or
Yeah, so you simply hit backspace to bring back your HUD. Like I'm just tapping it right now, and that's all there is to it. Not super complicated. Do as much as you want. If you want, like, if you want to get really creative, like you're waking up from a dream or something. And so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll actually go to our second option, so which is horizontal. So this is more for Instagram. Again, if you want to frame it properly for Instagram or some sort of photo, some sort of stylized photo for social media, something like that, we have these settings now. A very up down sort of Twitter kind of post, and we also have colors
for all those TikTok videos that you want to frame, you want to make.
Yeah, certainly. And we also have colors if you want to add some pizzazz. I personally wouldn't use this, but I can understand if people would want to use this feature. Being able to change colors, do what you want, make it darker or lighter, that kind of thing. Just another really, really cool feature that isn't really utilized too often. So I'm curious after this stream if people will find another reason to sort of hop in the game and just sort of film and have fun. And we just turn it off, and it's gone now, and now we're back to normal filmmaking.
If you have anyone has any questions about any of these features, since Vennie's probably the most skilled person you could ask in terms of filming and creating this kind of content, please give it in YouTube or put it in the Discord, and I will be sure to ask it. But yeah, that is a really robust feature set. So I guess what goes into like kind of planning a sequence? Is it sort of like storyboarded out? Do you sort of like feel it in the gameplay? How do you get like so many of those cool shots?
So usually when it comes to filming in-game content, such as the gameplay, so say we're, again, we need like a shot of Winston three snapping a neck or something. There's usually no storyboarding that goes into that because it's a very quick process. We don't have lots of time to film trailers. So when we do get word from top brass that we need a trailer for something or some sort of cinematic done, we usually just, all right, what maps are we showing? So in this case, say we needed, so let's say we're doing a trailer showing off this environment. It's a new retro 70s environment. We need to film on this day at this time, get as many people as we can, ideally 4 people. And how I usually do it is we usually do 2 passes. The first pass is playing the game, like how I'm playing right now, like playing, if we go ahead and spawn ourselves a weapon. We play the game normally in the first person with the HUD on, everything, or if you want to turn off the HUD, if you want to get more cinematic. We play the game normally first, and we get the footage we need of shooting and getting the content we need. And the second pass is watching people playing the game, and then I'm usually in the spectator chat getting the footage I need to get of them playing the game normally. So that's usually how we do it. That's the process that we normally do it. It hasn't changed that much since we started doing these kind of videos. But that's usually the process that we do.
We had a interesting question from Friendly Pigeon. Will backspace option is the backspace option going to hide the early access tag? It never did. Yeah, is it possible to get rid of the early access, or is that kind of like just stuck there?
So that's actually a good question. So Blade Kyle, who's our programmer who made the system, we actually do have a way of hiding that. So if you want to get rid of that, you simply hit backspace. And if you want to get rid of the top left, you hold backspace down. And it should disappear. Nope, there we go. And then now you hit backspace again, and now everything is gone. Yeah, let me get away from the speaker. It's drowning it out. Jesus, that scared the hell out of me. Yeah, so essentially, look, so now everything is gone, and if you want it all back again, boom. So yeah, so basically you just want to hold backspace down for, I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds, and it disappears. We obviously need it there for people who play the game who know it's early access. But if you want to film content in it, yeah, I definitely get why you wouldn't want that in there. So yeah, there's that.
Fantastic. So I guess what are your go-to filters when you're sort of producing a content, or you judge it by scene?
So usually when I film, and I guess for people who are interested in that kind of thing when it comes to game trailers, ideally you don't want to have filters on when you're playing the game. You want to show off the game in the way it's presented to players. Like I wouldn't want to like film this scene here, right? Obviously it's pretty dark, it's pretty contrasty. What I would do, because you need to get that detail and show it off in the trailer, you would ideally want to brighten it up. That's my process, because again, I like the players on YouTube, especially how YouTube compresses footage. The people watching the video need to see all the detail there. So I usually turn up the brightness, but yeah, when it comes to video editing, you really aren't supposed to tweak any of the tweak any color grading. You can maybe add some sharpness, but you ideally want to show off like the finished product of how the game will look. You don't want people thinking that it's just altered and it's not actually how the game should be. That sounded scary. I don't know where that's coming from. But yeah, no, so like that's what I usually do. But I don't, so again, a lot of these features I don't use myself. I do use depth of field when it comes to, I don't have my controller on me, But when it comes to shooting very slow, and I'll be going into detail actually momentarily about that. Um, of shooting like the trailers, usually, like, if you notice a lot of our trailers, we have lots of Dutch angle, like very very slow shots of players walking, that kind of thing. And with that, I recommend if you have a controller with you, we are controller compatible. If you just plug in your Xbox, it can be any controller. If you plug it into your PC, the game should automatically pick that up, and you can use your controller to fly around the map. And I say controller because with PC, you can't really like. So this is like the slowest you can go in PC. Which, if you want to get like a very very slow shot of, I don't know, say someone's walking across the catwalk, you kind of need like that extra slowness. So with the controller, obviously you can sort of push like the joystick forward and have it go much slower, and that's how I get a lot of my shots.
So tell us a little bit more about how like the controller, it didn't save the Titanic's the Titanic submersible, the Titan submersible, but how the controller is like your preferred form of cinema versus just a mouse and keyboard.
Not to say that you can't shoot video with mouse and keyboard. It's absolutely possible, but just in most cases, you it's a couple things. Firstly, again, if you want to get those slow shots, it's just something that you cannot get with a control. Like, again, so I'll make an example. If, say, I want a very slow shot of this fan, like do some sort of backing away kind of shot. This is the slowest I can do, and it doesn't. It's very fast. It doesn't. It can't do what I want it to do. Of course, you could slow it down in post production, which sometimes I do that for our trailers and videos. But I wish I could use an example here. But again, so with the controller, you have that joystick, so you have that freedom of movement. So as long as you slow down like the joystick, you can be as slow as you want. And when it comes to shooting a lot of like the cinematics, that's what I've done for a long time. Like, I've just done tons of dolly zoom in shots and just tried to get the best I can of what I can.
And was this the sort of tool that you used to capture all the opening title screens?
Yeah, so we can actually go into that because I think unless anyone has any other questions regarding the in-game camera system, I feel like I've already sort of gone over a majority of that. We can actually go ahead and transition over to in editor main menu stuff, going over how the main menu was made, which I think people would
Well,
find somewhat interesting.
oh yeah, I think all the stuff like that's in the menu is like really super cool. But before we transition to that, anyone who has any questions about the in-game camera and in-game editor, please, I'll give you like 2-3 minutes to put them in either the YouTube or Discord chat before we move on and show how Vennie got the title sequences. But before we get to that, how did you what is your background in video editing? How did you get started? And what were the sort of machinima projects, since we're in an interesting time period now. Rooster Teeth is finally closed down, unfortunately, and that was like one of the great pioneers of machinima, and sadly machinima.com is no more. So I would love to hear your background, because the art of machinima is still not entirely gone. It still exists. It's still going forward with pioneers of the insufferable skibbity toilet, as many Zoomers love to mention, and children. But how did you get involved with all this game cinematics?
Yeah, so I'm actually self-taught. I actually wasn't onboarded. Speaking more so of like my time here at Affray, I wasn't onboarded for filmmaking. So I guess to sort of clear up some context. So I do a couple things on the game. Oh, there's some weird bug here. I'm not just so I actually compose music for the game. I'm one of the composers. I do lighting for the game. So some of the levels, not this level, but I do for some levels. I do the lighting, and the environment sort of design. Like the assets, trying to make the environments feel more lively, and a couple other things. Mainly, again, when it comes to like our filming, our cinematics, and like our social media stuff like that. But I was actually onboarded for composing music, and then I sort of fell into this role of making the trailers, and no one has sort of questioned it ever since. I just sort of do that now. But I won't speak too long about it. But yeah, I don't have any formal education when it comes to filmmaking. I didn't get I didn't go to film school. I'm self-taught. I didn't even go to college actually. So I'm pretty lucky with all the job opportunities I have here and like everywhere else. I do actual live action filmmaking, but I think filming in engine Unreal stuff is very cool and interesting because again you have so much flexibility when it comes to placing down lights and getting your scene set up, whereas real life obviously it's a lot more tricky being just one person, and I think that's where a lot of people, especially here watching the stream, can find some cool stuff in, because again you don't have to like be some sort of tech savvy guy to work with this kind of camera system. You can just load up the game, turn on depth of field, and just go crazy. Just have fun and just make content, post it on Steam, make YouTube videos about it.
Well,
There's one individual who actually takes really good screenshots. I don't know if he's here, but he knows who he is.
no, that's really impressive. Like the level of work you've been able to do and the level of music you do, just being self-taught. What was your sort of like resource? Was it just looking up YouTube tutorials?
That's it. That's all there is to it, man. It's you just gotta but yeah, absolutely. Like literally just spending time on the weekends looking it up. But when it comes to sort of like doing in-game stuff, yeah, I mean, it just sort of came naturally. Like there's no like one video that sort of teaches you everything. It really comes down to experimentation. Like I can't stress that enough. Just having fun, messing with shit. Because again, like that's how we evolve as a species. Like just like messing with stuff. And when something goes right, it's awesome. It just, as to quote Todd Howard, sometimes it just works. Just things fall into place, and it just the stars align and it works. And I think that's the best example I can give of how I do the work here at a fray. Like sometimes shots just line up. Like a bunch of zombies spawn in, or I mean, shit. Let's just
well,
spawn in 173, spawn in a bunch of guards.
McAfee asks a question.
I
I
think
mean,
the guards are working right now.
is that a full-on editor that lets
Oh,
you pose 5K NPCs and lets you make videos for lore videos and whatnot? It's not.
so you
Well, I'll let you take it.
yeah. Yeah, so you can't pose, but that's actually a really good suggestion. There's no promises, but that's kind of interesting. I assume you're kind of referencing what Fallout 76 does, because Fallout 76 has their own camera system, very similar in a way, except they let you pose your characters. I don't think we'll probably do anything like that, but it's pretty cool. I would really say if you want, again, like just sort of getting a group of people together and having them pose, like, again, like pointing a gun up in the air, I think that's where you'd get most of your stuff. But yeah, no, there's no posing unless you account him standing there like this, you lovable savage.
So
Oh,
no, well,
yeah, he got me. Rest in peace.
rest in peace. Once that is like the big contradiction of SCP 5K is that on one hand you have a perfect accurate representation of video game form of 173. On the other hand, because it's a perfect accurate representation of 173, that also means it's not exactly the best digital actor.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, unless there's anything else, I'd love to go into the actual editor and sort of play around with like the main menu sequence and sort of show how that was made, and what
Yeah.
like what like the camera looks like in the engine, like actual like filmmaking, that kind of stuff, rather than sort of like the sort of in-game camera.
Yeah, let's hop to it. We've got one question, but we already dealt with that, so let's move
Yeah, no, go
on.
ahead.
Now
Okay.
it was the McAfee. But like, if you have any other questions about how to utilize the SCP-5K camera, feel free to ask to Vennie. And but yeah, let's start it up and let's take a look at
Yeah.
the next part of how to make more complex things.
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna open up. I I have to make sure I'm not showing anything that can get me in trouble. But yeah, I'll open up the main menu, and I think this will be a lot more interesting for people who maybe are more into video games and showcase like how like what's like the behind the scenes kind of menu sequencing that like happens in Unreal Engine, stuff like that. We use 4.27, so we're it's not too different from how like the modern, I guess, updates to Unreal Engine 5 have been, but like they're pretty similar, so it's nothing too crazy, but it's cool nonetheless. Just give me 1 minute. It's loading up, so we will see how that goes. Almost there.
Loading, loading, loading. Watch those screens. Oh, loading, 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 loading. Yeah. Loading
Yeah,
high.
I just
Loading.
have to like I don't know. Yeah, like I don't have time to like blur out any maps or any like assets like I don't think they have shown yet. So I just gotta load up the main menu like really fast and
As you can see, we are ensuring top security, so we can show you the best stuff, but not necessarily the stuff that will ruin any fun secret surprises that are coming so soon.
yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
Because I love my job, so
Mac McAfee asks, to be honest, I never really thought about having a photo video mode for 5K. That came out kind of the blue for me. Well, think of it as a fun bonus you never asked for. The secret function that's available to you that was made for developers, but you can access for all those funds. And Stinky Cat asks, what made you interested in editing and cinematics?
I would say, and I'll go back to that statement after this question. But it definitely comes natural. It's either you have it or you don't. It's just editing was like the first thing I did, and then sort of like directing and doing cinematics was something that just sort of came naturally. But yeah, it's just like it's just a passion, and I'm sure a lot of people who are in the same field can say the same. It's just a passion for shooting cool videos and and just doing it for a job. Like I mean, that's all I can really say about it because like that's all there is to it. It's super fun to just again hop in the editor and just get cool shots and make a trailer out of it. And to go back to that previous statement, yeah, absolutely. It kind of does seem weird for a tactical shooter game. Like, oh, you have a camera mode. Yeah, Isaac is absolutely right. It was not meant to be. It was meant to be primarily for dev use, like just get like for us. And I actually requested a menu be made, and then it just sort of like again like the stars aligned, and we realized it made a perfect. Let people take screenshots and have fun with the game. And I'm hoping that once people sort of learn this, people will have have another reason to hop in the game, and if you're bored, fly around and just take cool pictures because you know there's definitely a lot of creative people in the SCP community with artwork and photography. So I'm really looking forward to how people take this info.
Exactly.
Uh,
I want to see it in the player creations. I want to see you unleashed all kinds of cool stuff that is being able to take in photographs, making videos. How many early access things let you have this wide range of video features to play with? I'm gonna assume it's not that many. But do you have the
Yeah,
so
just give me one moment.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
still
sure.
loading. I just gotta make sure. Oh, okay, I got it up. All right,
Stinky
just gotta
Cat
make sure to
has
hide everything.
another question. Do you think one day people would make films that are similar to other films, such as SCP Overlord? Do you think it's possible to remake a movie like Overlord or any other SCP movies within 5K?
It's kind of tricky. I mean, so Royalty, the creator or the writer of the story, and he actually does. If you, I'm sure as you know, if you look at that kind of content, Evan Royalty uses he actually like that's literally his specialty is that he goes into video games and he shoots short films through like the wackiest ways. So I would say yes and no because like that's kind of different because you're talking about like animations, but in I guess if you're speaking like in Unreal Engine, absolutely that is definitely possible. In 5K, if you coordinate it enough, like let's say you get a group of 5 people and you say, all right, like let's make a short film. and you have them act out scenes like in like the most tactic way possible, absolutely. And I'm actually really curious to see if anyone wants to take up that task, because that'd be super cool if someone were to make that and then, you know, showcasing it on, you know, on our Twitter and stuff like that. Like that's a really, really cool opportunity, and I'm curious to see if anyone will or will try to do that.
The gauntlet
I
has
have
been
the main
thrown
menu open now.
down.
So yeah, I'll go ahead and stream.
And McAfee says, "Oh, I'm absolutely not complaining. There's going to be some badass content made out of this in the future." So let me switch to see your live stream, and let's see what you got here.
Let's get people. Yep.
All right. So what program?
You able to see?
Yeah. Yep. What program do we have here? What are we looking at?
Okay, so we're currently inside Unreal Engine, so this is obviously the engine that we use to make the game. So I had to hide and make sure I wasn't showing maps and assets that we don't want to be shown. But what you're looking at is basically the main menu level. So when you load up the game and you play that, this is what you're looking at. And I just want to quickly do a zoom out real quick. This is what you're seeing. Every time you load up the main menu, this is the main menu. It is literally this is the equivalent of like just stages, right? Every time the camera cuts, it switches to a new area, and that is water dripping. That is really interesting. But yeah, so like we can just go ahead and start playing around. If you're wondering why they're kind of a white outline, because there's a double exposure film effect going on here, and I'll showcase that in a moment. But yeah, again, so our main menu is not pre-rendered. It is 100%. It's PBR. It's physically based. It's actually in the scene. So we just fly around again. Yeah. So this is our level. So this is like the main menu you see. We have the resonator, like the doggy here. Look at that gnarly bastard. Look at them.
Well, I always like to joke that the resonator is kind of like. Did you ever see season 2 of Stranger Things?
I have, yeah.
It's like the demo dog, only it's like the Chad and the Virgin meme.
It definitely does.
And
of course he has his tattoo on him. Yeah. Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll actually. Oh, is there a question?
Oh no. Go ahead. My apologies. I was just about to riff that the demo dog is weak. It's the Virgin. It gets beaten up by children, while the Chad, the side resonator is Chad. Eats UIU agents for breakfast. But go on. My apology for talking over you.
No, it's fine. So what we'll do is we'll actually quickly go ahead and we'll actually showcase. If I hit G here, you'll actually see all of the cameras. Like, again, it's very, I wouldn't say choreographed. It's very like if the camera is looking at it, or sorry, if the camera isn't looking at it, it's not important. So we have all these shots. I'm going to see if I can actually, let me try and increase the brightness. I know you guys are watching through YouTube and Discord and stuff like that. So I know it's probably like very grainy. So let me actually go into exposure and raise it up a little bit, just so you guys can see a little bit better. It's not how it's supposed to look, but it's a little bit brighter for you guys. So yeah, so there's a lot going on here. I do the environment design for this, all the assets, all of the hanging D class, that kind of thing. Very Half-Life Alyx inspired, the wires hanging. So we'll actually go ahead and we'll actually play, and we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't break. So yeah, it works perfectly. So every time you play the main menu starts at a random place. So you never get the same, it's the same animation essentially, but it never starts from the same area. So if you notice how it just, hang on a second, let me quit this. So our first camera angle was cutting to this little kind of medical tray. And if you play it again, it should cut to a different angle.
I never, was that a different angle?
Yep. Yeah. So look. Now we're at a different angle. So every time you play the game, it's not a big difference, but for people who pay attention, it's never going to be the same every time you load it. Yep, a different angle. So you get the resonator there.
I had no idea that's how that worked. That it's actually like different camera angles from these like 3D sets that have been built in Unreal. That's super cool.
Yep, absolutely. And yep, right here we have depth of field again. We have that double exposure. For those of you who don't know what double exposure is, it's fucking excuse me. Like a double exposure is essentially when you overlay a video onto like the darkest dark of the screen. So we actually go, if we zoom in on this guy, you notice how there's a video. Yeah, there's a video overlapping. It's a cool shader effect. It's not the best, but some people like it, some people don't. So we actually were planning on getting rid of it, but let me see if I can catch it in action. Yeah, so if we simulate the environment, if we zoom in on these guys, we have a video overlapping inside the D class model, which is kind of cool.
Ooh! Oh, wow! I didn't even know that there were like these vines here. But
Yeah, they're
that's
playing
really
in the
cool.
background.
I didn't realize that the video was actually overlapping in the in the model of
Yeah, look
the.
at it. Yeah, it's
That's crazy. So it's actually in like the character model of like the hung D class skeleton.
yeah, exactly. It's simply a post process shader. Yep, we have Hazmat guy over there. And something quickly, I'll quickly showcase before we actually head into the actual sequencer. There's lots of trickery here when it comes to lighting, and like that's comes with the territory. If you're like a cinematic artist or lighting artist, there's lots of trickery going on here. So if you notice, this D class is lit pretty perfectly, but there's actually a floating light here that shouldn't exist in real life. So if I go ahead and move it, look at it, he's completely dark.
Oh, really?
If we go ahead and Control Z and we move it back, look, it's seamless. So in real life, he technically should be dark. He should not have any light on him. But again, it's a video game, so we can take creative liberties. And this, I think everyone here would agree that this looks much better than having him completely in the dark.
Bumblebeefy asks, "Will there be cinematic cutscenes?" I think
Uh,
well, uh, didn't Trey say that there might be, but there are not going to be a lot of them?
That would be that's not something I would be able to answer. That would be so Bowman is our cinematic director. He's also a producer of the game. He takes the lead on that kind of thing. So he does all of our, I guess, more pre-rendered cinematic trailers, stuff like that. As far as I'm aware, I don't want to say 100%, but from what I remember, there will be triggered cutscenes, but not like cutscenes where it takes control from you. I believe it's like, say you walk into a room and a trigger sort of like gets set off, and you watch something happen from the first person, like a very Half-Life. Like, say you walk into a room and you see a zombie tackle someone. I assume something like that. Maybe there might be where it takes control. I wouldn't assume so, considering our tactical space, but don't quote me on that. That would definitely be a question for Trey Bishop, the game director, or Bowman Modine, who's the producer of the game.
Then now that makes sense, especially considering I love the lighting of like the. Oh, so it's even got an idle animation.
Yep. So these are again just reusing animations. Again, it's all fake. Like nothing. It's a movie set. It's everything to get our point across of what you're gonna experience in the main game. And I'll actually come over here. There's actually something pretty funny. I think the zombies are T-posing. Yeah, there's two zombies that aren't used in the scene that are just T-posing in the corner that you never actually get to fully see. But yeah, so I'll actually quickly I'll go into, so for those of you guys who are interested, I'll quickly go into, so what we're going to be looking at here is the actual sequencer. So this is where it basically, think of it like an editing timeline. So this is where all of the clips are put in the video. If you notice, like, so if we go to camera one, so this is where the game first, or like the main menu first starts off. We have the main camera sort of cutting here, and then as soon as we cut to this room, and we cut to 173, or sorry, excuse me, at the resonator looking very dastardly. We doing a tilt upward, then we cut to camera 3, which is the same thing. We have camera number 3 over here getting a close up. If we cut to camera 3 via we get the nice juicy up close subsurface scattering. Let me just play it real quick. But for those of you who are somewhat acquainted with Unreal, again, so this is very simple. It's not like, it doesn't take like a whole thesis textbook for you to like understand like how to go in there and just place cameras and stuff like that. It's very accessible. It's very fun to do, and of course, as soon as to save on performance in the main menu, as soon as this camera is finished, as soon as we cut to camera 4, like the resonator is actually despawned, so we can like squeeze as much performance as we can out of like the main menu. But yeah, so we have all of our camera here. We have all of our camera settings, very similar to what we just talked about in like the main in-game sequencer camera. All the settings, focusing, manual focus, smooth camera focus, stuff like that. Close-up shots of the hazmat suit model and all that jazz. So it's very fun. It's very cool to see the kind of like the behind the scenes of how this stuff works. And we can actually go ahead if we go ahead to
yeah, it's super cool to see, like, and it's even more impressive that you're all self-taught. This does not look like the most intuitive or easy to learn software to pick up. So to see all of this is like super cool, and I hope you're proud of like as much as you've accomplished. Ghost asks, so in the near future, are you going to get different models of the UIU in the main menu? Because from the last devlog, there was an Alaska facility, and I'm wondering if it's going to be used in the main menu as a background.
So absolutely. So that's actually something that we talked about. I'm not currently working on that, but it's something very easy to implement. So the process is that like think of it like Rainbow Six Siege. Like every major update we do, the main menu changes to the new update assets. So that's actually a good question because I completely forgot about that. That's something I'll probably bring up to one of the head developers. Absolutely. We should definitely so probably not everything is going to change, but I would say some of the shots I just went over are most likely going to change. Like probably instead of like the D class model, we're going to be showing. Oh, where is he? Oh, he disappeared. He's in the shadows. But yeah, absolutely. We should show off. We're going to be showing off new models. We have the 610 stuff like that. We have new stuff coming in. So yeah, absolutely. Getting new character animations in the main menu. Again, it's not something I'm working on right at the moment, but it's something absolutely wouldn't take too long, maybe a day's work. So hopefully we can get that implemented.
Good to you. Definitely good to hear. We've got a comment that D class is in the walls, but you were about to show something before we had the other question.
Oh yeah, So there's really not much else to really like go over, but what I will do though is just like I'll quickly like say I was starting like fresh, like just for people who aren't really well acquainted with with this kind of software, just go in and show quickly how easy it is to make these cutscenes. So I suppose we can do that. Unless there's any other pressing questions, we can move forward.
I'm not seeing any super pressing questions, but of course, please give me your pressing questions. So feel free to move on. But of course, if you have any questions about any of these tools or features or how you build it, but I never realized that so when you load up the game is literally loading up the space and then just going through different camera angles in Unreal.
Essentially,
right?
Yeah. So this is this is the bare bones you can get, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Again, there's going to be updates to it, like so and so said. There will be. It's not going to stay the same. Like again, so the crabs might disappear, and it might be a whole new scene. It's going to be constantly changing as the updates get more intense. So that's the cool part is to sort of it's not going to be the same. It's not a static main menu. It's a completely rendered main menu, and it's not a completely original idea. There are tons of games that do have actually physically based environments for main menus. But I think for 5K it works out great because then you're able to get a lot of this good detail, and it's something that's not faked. It's not pre-rendered. There's not some sort of magic going on. It's strictly what you're seeing and what you're able to experience in the game itself.
McAfee asks, did you come up with the whole set you're showing off, and you taught all this yourself? So did you build this entire set, or did you work with other artists in Afraid to kind of like build this space?
So okay, so like first, so to answer your first question, I had no help with this specific environment. Unless you're referring to assets, of course I didn't make all these assets myself. But basically, I was given a task from the producers is we need a main menu that encapsulates everything the player will go through in the main game. And they said, here are the tools, here are the assets, creative freedom. And that's the best thing you can ever ask for in a job is creative freedom. Do what you think is right, and then we'll sign off on it. And that's exactly what happened. So what you're seeing is 100% all. Again, not to sound like, but it's 100% all just sort of like what felt natural, and what sort of makes sense. Because ideally, in the main menu, you'd want to show off what you're going to be fighting in the main game, such as the crabs, showing off the D class, showing off the resonator who turned into mush, guards, right? Like like laboratory stuff like that, and it just sort of came naturally. And but yeah, it's super fun, and I'm really happy. Again, it's the best thing that you can ever ask for a job is just given assets and just told to go crazy. To answer your second question, the second question was about how what was how I got here, right, Isaac? Or it was self taught, right?
Did you teach all yourself to like build these sets and like
Oh yeah, I mean, yes, absolutely. So again, so what we'll do before we sort of end off here is again, I will quickly show everyone here how easy it is to make when you have the assets and when you have the creativity in vision, it's as simple as 1, 2, 3. So unless there's anything else, I can quickly go ahead and show you guys how simple it is to make these scenes.
Absolutely, I would love to see you build something, have an impromptu jam session.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so what we'll first do is obviously, I would say we probably could just scrub one of these scenes, but what we'll do is we'll actually quickly just make a new one. Like we'll again, it's like a studio, like we're just adding more walls. So let me see here. Let me just add. We gotta add here. So first things first. Let's go ahead and make a separate room. We have an asset for this. If I can find it. The camera setting is very close. So yeah. So set speed run. So first things first, we need a floor. If the floor is gonna move. All right, boom. We have a floor. Second thing, we need a wall. So let's just move the wall down. Boom, we have a wall. Let's get the ceiling over here so we get a new set going. Boom. So we're gonna start completely fresh here. It's a blank scene. There's nothing on the screen. Say we want to show. I don't know, Isaac. What do you think we could or should show
I
here?
want
Like
some
any
plant.
asset we want.
I want some plant horror. Do something cool with the
Okay.
crab and the
Plant.
spitter vine.
Okay. You know what we can do? I'll do you one better. Plant. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a plant here.
Oh, I
Actually,
wanted this. I wanted the
let's do it
spitter
bigger.
vine.
Yeah, we'll do the spitter vine. So let's just I'm just gonna quickly save some time here. I'm actually just gonna grab some. I'm just gonna grab the lights here. So spawn in a light. We quickly light up the scene. Let's get maybe one singular light. Boom. Maybe we want two lights. So we want a light over here. We want to showcase how vibrant this this very good looking model is. So let's get one light there. Let's get one light over here as like some sort of bounce lighting. Boom. We're already looking pretty good. And then what we'll do to say we're starting completely fresh. Say this is a new plant asset, a 1 million poly plant for the new update. Go to cinematics, add a level sequencer. We'll call this new main menu. Are you able to see what I'm typing or no? Do I need to share the whole screen?
I'm not able to see what you're typing, but I mean,
Okay, let me change. Yeah, let me change windows. All right, you should be able to see everything now, right? You're
Oh
able to see this
yeah, I
window?
can see that window.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. So anyways, just to reiterate, I went in here, add level sequence. Let's just call this new main menu.
Inquisitor Holt asks, where does the planning stop and improvisation start to refine an area? That is kind of interesting. How much of it does it take to like plan out a scene, or how much of it is just like jazz? You know, working and playing with
Unless
until
again,
you.
I guess like so usually like me personally, I it's not the best thing, but I'm very am sporadic. Like if I have an idea, I just go in and like I do it. Of course, that doesn't work for everyone. It is better usually to have an idea of what you want. But at least like the way I roll, if I have an idea in my head, I like to just sort of like go ahead and do it. And if it looks good, it like just sort of throwing all my throwing everything at the wall until it sticks. But planning is absolutely a central role. In this case, with this main menu, a lot of it was planned. Like some of the assets that I just shown were like already being used. So I sort of reiterated that, and I sort of made do with what I have, and I just sort of expanded upon it. Um, but obviously, in this case, we're focusing on a plan, so
Stinky Cat
kind of
asks,
improv.
how easy would you say working with Unreal is? Could someone who has never used something like it go on and make a goodish scene? Um, so yeah, how difficult was the Unreal learning curve for you?
Uh, it's different for everyone. Obviously, for me, it definitely like if we're going far back, like for some context, like I learned Unreal like fairly. I'd say in the grand scheme of things, very recently. Like I barely knew how to work the cam. Excuse me. I barely knew how to work the camera back in. I learned Unreal Engine 4 because like that's back when it was still Unreal Engine 5 didn't release yet, so it was around February of 2021. Like that's when I sort of sat down and taught sort of like the cinematics. It definitely is for someone who isn't very tech savvy. It definitely comes off as very like wow, like there's a lot to deal with. But I think once you actually sit down, you don't panic. And again, there's tons of videos out there. Like it's not, you don't have to put pressure. Like there's so many videos of how to do Unreal Engine, how to do cinematics, or just how to get good camera quality in general. So I'd say it differs between people, but it's not that difficult. Easier said for me, but from someone who came from that area, yeah, it's definitely not as difficult as it seems. And like that's one of the reasons why I'm showing this off because again, it's very simple the way I'm doing it. I'm not doing anything crazy. We're literally focusing on a plant.
Uh,
So,
Ghost
anyways,
asks if you can add a duck, but people are loving the plant. Dinko says that's a lovely plant. Ghost says keep it
that's
as
a
an
lovely
Easter
plant.
egg. People are hyped for the plant. 5 years later,
The
you see
plant,
YouTube videos debating where this
the
plant
plant
came
update.
from and what Afraid tried to tell us.
Yeah, we don't have any duck. I don't think we have any ducks, right? We have a duck. Oh, it's in the wrong place. Let's. Oh, we have a one bad mother ducker. I don't know where that's from, but that's funny. Anyway, so back to the sequencer. So look, so our sequencer is completely empty. We have nothing in it. So first thing we need is, and like I'll try and get over this fast because like I know we're hitting an hour. So we'll go ahead and just simply again Unreal Engine 4.27. We go here to cinematic. We drop in a camera. Boom. We have our first camera. Where are you? Right there. So perspective, we go to place cameras, we go to our camera cinematic actor. That's what it's named in the scene. And we have our plant. So say for the sake of time, say we need to get a video out, and this plant is a new SCP in the update. Say we need to get new camera shots ASAP. Top brass needs new camera sequences. Uh, it's as simple as hell. I mean, you can drag the drop, so drag and drop the camera in the sequencer, and look, it's here right now. So now we can easily edit the camera to do whatever we want. So this is where it kind of gets a little interesting because again, like there's so many possibilities. Like go forward, left, right, do a little 360. I'm not gonna get into all of like the camera settings. There's so many. There's camera rig, for 360s. There's a dolly, again, make those videos for that about Unreal. But say for the sake of time, let's say we want to do a push and shot of the camera while also having that light spin around. So what we'll do is we'll go to the timeline 00. If you use Blender for cinematics, this will look pretty similar to you. Go to transform. We want to add a keyframe so it like pins exactly. All right, you started here and you're ending here. So we'll start here and we'll go to the end. somewhere near the end, and we'll like go around and we'll go from this angle perhaps, and then we'll go ahead and add a new keyframe. So now when we go back, it just saved our whole animation, the SCP plant update. But say we're not done again. So say we want this spotlight camera. So say we want to raise it, maybe hell even make it lower the ground. I think I'm liking this better. So say say we want the spotlight to turn with the camera. So we go ahead and simply, where's the spotlight? We drag and drop the camera or the spotlight into the sequencer. And we gotta go. We have to go in and give it transform. We have to give it transformation. We have to allow it to basically add keyframes similar to if you notice right here it says transform. We have to basically give that to the spotlight. So we tracking. We go to transform. So now it's tracking the location of the spotlight. So again, same thing we just did with the camera. We hit keyframe. And now we go to the end and we just simply move the spotlight.
Ooh.
Let's position it where we want it. So say we want to switch up the angle to something like this. And boom, keyframe. So let's go back to the beginning. And look, now we have a simple shot. So not only does our camera move, but the spot, if you notice, the spotlight is too. So again, pretty straightforward, pretty simple, and obviously I'm skipping over a lot of stuff. But like say we needed that like fast, and we needed it rendered, we needed it for the main menu. That's as simple as it gets. And of course, when it comes to depth of field, we have this neat little feature. Let me go back to the camera.
McAfee asks,
the focus viewer.
McAfee asks, what kind of computer hardware are you using to make all this happen? I know you've got a pretty beastly rig. Do you need like an absolute monster of a computer to run Unreal and do all this kind of fancy schmancy editing?
You don't. I would say so. Obviously, as someone who does this for a living, I have a 4090. I have the best stuff for rendering and CPU stuff like that. But for Unreal, I would say you need not a beefy computer, but you need like a fairly new parts. Like I would say like we have some team members that work in 2080s and stuff like I think a 2080 is fine. I guess that really depends on what you're doing. Like if it's game development, that's a whole different story. But if you just want to like open Unreal and you want to make cinematics, I think a 1080 in like a 2080 or a 2060 or a 1080 or around like the kind of GPUs you want ideally for running Unreal. I can't say that for Unreal Engine 5. That's a whole different can of worms because there's they have nanite technology, they have Lumen. But yeah, I would have to look more into that. But it's definitely, as long as you aren't running on a on a GPU from 2010, I think you can run it to some extent.
You don't need a super super graphics card, crypto mining, face melting, avatar rendering thing to run Unreal 3 or Unreal 4. Or is it 5 or 4?
Unreal 4. It's 4, so we use 4. But yeah, no, I think you should be all right. Again, as long as it's like I say fairly recent, as in like the last like 10 8 years. I mean, ideally, I don't know. I mean, I might be a little bit wrong on that, but I mean, again, like we have team members who are like lowest end specs, like 1070, who are in the editor. Albeit they have their settings low, it's fairly possible. But it's been a while since I've had low end hardware to sort of test that theory.
I think you already answered this, but Ghost was not here earlier. What about the trailer shots that have players in them? For example, that's why update 2 with a shot of 4 players. So I think you actually, I'll give a brief overview and you can, cut me off. You actually, so if you're the host player, you can access the spectator camera But you have to have other people to play with to serve as your actors, and that's how that content is captured.
Essentially. Yeah, yeah, essentially. Obviously, if there's not people around, I just get the footage on my own. But yeah, ideally, and someone asked this question, or someone asked something similar, like if you wanted to make a film, could you using the spectator cam? Absolutely, yeah. Like again, if you knew the shots you wanted to get, and you had a group of people, a group of friends in the server, like hey, like let's go make a short film, and you had them act out like the scenes with like playing the game normally, like trying to act all tactical, you could absolutely make a short film out of it. And that's one of the reasons again why we're doing this stream, because I think while I'm showing a lot of stuff that isn't inherently in the engine, like stuff that you guys can use, the
Yeah,
like the spectator cam absolutely is available. It's like there's no like secret lock. It's not strictly a dev tool. It's a tool for everyone, albeit it's not 100% complete. But again, if you like in the future, if there's like a huge, I guess, vocal minority of people who like it a lot, some small updates to perhaps color grading, no guarantees of course, but there could be updates to it depending on its usage, for social media content, or for just again making films out of it, like someone asked earlier.
McAfee asks, I was curious about how did you find your way into the 5K project? I mean, SCP is quite a niche hobby. So were you into 5K or like SCP in general? Or how did you
I've been
start?
in the SCP. Oh yeah. I think I share the same sentiment with a lot of people. I've been in love with the SCP since I watched Markiplier like Containment Breach. Like, and I think a lot of people can say the same. Like, I learned Containment Breach. Containment Breach led me to SCP. SCP articles led to SCP videos. But I was on board. If you're speaking more so like my time at Afro, I was onboarded 20. That's a damn. It's a long time ago. 2019 or 2020, I think.
Oh wow, that
I was
that early. So you were there from the kind of like the beginning.
not like the very beginning. Like I would say, like they were like they were much obviously much smaller than they are now. We're a huge team now, but I was onboarded. But I was onboarded to do music, and I was a composer, and I still am one of the composers. Like the main menu music you actually hear is one of my compositions.
Well, can
But
I
ever since
congratulate
then,
you? That main menu music is a banger.
yeah, thanks. But yeah, no. Ever since I think it's hard to remember 2020. I think I just started rolling with them music wise, and then it just sort of fell on my lap. Like when like the Kickstarter happened, they're like, "Hey, listen, we need someone to do a trailer." Oh, I happen to be very good. I happen to be very good at video editing. Oh, great. Well, let's have you. I mean, we've had the spectator cam since the Kickstarter, to be absolutely clear. Like we've had it in the game for a while. I just don't think we've talked about it at all because we've had no reason to. But yeah, I use the J cam to go film the cinematic for the Kickstarter, for every trailer we've done since, except the pre-rendered ones. Pre-rendered ones are done by a whole separate crew, by Bowman Modine, who's our cinematic director, and Karos, who's one of like the renderers, who like works with Bowman. But yeah, it's been a fun ride, and there's definitely a lot more
Is that penguin
to
something you could show off, or is that like something that shouldn't be seen? I'm a little worried.
It's actually. Do you remember that bird from what was it? Up?
Uh, yeah, up.
You ever seen Up?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's that bird. Don't worry about
Oh,
it.
okay. Yeah, I just thought that the red thing. I wasn't quite sure if that was like a little teaser to like an update, or if that's like something that's
No,
not.
no, no, no. It's the no, like it's the bird from Up.
Oh, so it's like a going
They
extinct.
finally caught him. Yeah, like they finally caught him. He's dead. The old man died. So did like the little kid, and like the house blew up. So, but yeah, let's go back to the plant. Actually, where's the plant? I think we have a melon. No, you know what? Well, let's pull up the melon, ladies and gentlemen. The melon.
Ooh.
I just want to go ahead and showcase. We've worked 4 years on this game, and this melon is our best asset we've ever created.
Well, why is the melon so great?
I want to be cheeky and say because it has 4K textures, but I'm joking around. It kind of looks like a football from this angle.
Inquisitor Holt asks, how often do you hit creator's block, and do you lose sleep over other previous work on 5K?
Absolutely. I think everyone even outside of like video work, like artists in general, yeah, 100%. Like something like even when it comes to working on maps in the game, like if there's something that really bothers me, like say there's a let's use an example, like say I place a dead body in the scene, and I think about it, I'm like, well, maybe that dead body doesn't belong there. Like it really starts to bother me. And I'm just like, it doesn't belong there. Like I usually, like, I think I've had a couple of times where I've actually woken up in like the middle of the night and had to like go into the editor and like delete stuff because it bothers me that much. But in regards to videos, it's like that a lot. There's always things that I think I could do better, and things that bother me. And I absolutely do get block. I think everyone has gotten block at least once in their life. I don't get it as much, but I'm really afraid that one day it's all gonna hit me like once. Like it's all gonna hit me, and it's gonna be big trouble. But I don't get it as much as I used to. That's probably because there's so much content that needs to be made. You don't really have time to dwell on it. But yeah.
It's always kind of good to push through. But what plans do you have for the melon and this corpse here?
Well, I mean, it was mainly just to sort of showcase, again, how easy it is. Like, I guess for me to sort of back up my claims of, oh, how easy it would be to simply just create a new main menu sequence. Again, what you're seeing is very simplistic, obviously, just for sort of showcase purposes. But if it were to come down to like a new main menu slide, then it would be a whole different scenario. But again, yeah, it's really simple. Going back, it took me about like 10 minutes, not even. And there's so much more to do, and I've really had a good time. I'm very happy, and I'm very lucky that I've been given so much creative freedom to just sort of like, not always, it's not always like that, but in the main menu specifically, here, take all these assets and make something cool out of it. And this is what we got out of. So
awesome. So, was there's we are going on to an hour now. You still feeling good?
Yeah, no, fine.
Awesome. I always like to check in. One thing, well, unless there's something else you want to do before, but one thing I would love to showcase is, I think that's kind of underappreciated, is the ability to make memes with this content. And you were working on a very special, something you wanted to push forward is to produce more memes for social media. So I guess, any chance you'd like to show off the Sopranos thing, or was there something else you'd like to do before getting into that?
No, unless there's anything else, I think I've sort of showcased a lot of like how we do like the cinematics and stuff like that. So I think I have to find. I don't think I have the project file anymore. So what I'll do is I'll probably just pull up the meme, like the video itself.
Oh man, how do you not have the project file?
Well, I get rid of. I mean, I might still have it. I don't know. But I usually like even though like I have the storage for it, I usually just delete. If it's not important, I delete it because it's one of those like OCD things. It's not because I don't have space. Well, it's probably because of that. It's just because like I don't like things on the desktop. I don't like things cluttering. So I just kind of get rid of. What is this called?
So
before I leave this trips.
Ooh,
son of a bitch.
Is that a feature of the Unreal? Just adding in the drip texture?
No, well, I'm just because I'm working on a map right now that needs drips, and I've been looking for something like this that that makes drips. So I need to remember this. But yeah, so I'll go ahead and I'll shut down the stream for a minute.
What you can do is, I think in our chat you sent me this Tony Soprano thing. So if you want to play the finished file before like kind of going into how you built that, because I would love to, for people to see it, and then kind of like do a diagram of like how do you make something like that.
Yeah, let me find it real quick.
All right. So while you were while you were getting that, we, as you, I'm sure you know, we have the makeshift campaign that is going on right now. It is the SCP-173B plush. We've 61 sold, 30% funded, but we want to get as many of these plushies out as possible. So if you haven't, please get the get this plushie. It is adorable. It is the exclusive piece of merch that may not necessarily be available forever. So you can lord this over all your SCP friends. You can showcase it. You can cuddle with it. You can terrify your friends and family. And tomorrow we will be having a very special evening of playing some of the best killer toy movies available. So we are going to have a killer doll movie night. I am in the process of editing that right now. It is starting at 7 o'clock, so I hope to see as many of you people there for a fun killer time. And there will be details about how we have an exclusive contest where you might be able to win one of these plushes and get it before everyone else. So show up for details on how to enter that contest. We will be revealing it there. And I want to see this number go up. I want to see it go beyond 61, unless everyone else watching this has already seen this plush.
Yeah.
So please, and you know what? I think your Dinko that plush will last because it is made of great materials from the wonderful providers of Makeshift, and your dog will know better than to eat it. It is just not a good idea to eat this plush. All right, so now we are switching back to Vennie.
Yeah, I'm sharing this. I'm sharing the clip. To be absolutely clear, I guess to end off the stream, it's kind of a wacky way to end off the stream. This was not finished. There's issues with it. But we're hoping to do memes like this in the future, like for some sort of like, unfortunately, like that's the way social media operates. Live funny green screen meme gets in followers, gets in, traction on Twitter. So probably I don't have much time.
Hold up one second. I'm just trying to.
People will find mildly funny. And I'll just again just go ahead and play it. It's
one second. I'll let you know. Yep. Once that's loaded up. I had to it wasn't loading up for me, so I'd refresh my screen. But all right.
Is it still loading?
Yeah. No, we're good now. Play that bad boy.
Okay.
Still look forward to working with you, John. I mean that. You want a coffee? I don't know. Fucking Christ.
See, very stupid. Like people are probably cringing in their seats right now. But like, listen, like people like on Twitter or Instagram, like, dude, like that's it's a little chuckle. Like people who play the game, like, oh wow, that's the.
Is there any way you could play it a little louder though? It was kind of like a little light.
Yeah. I just had it turned down a little because I didn't want to blast it here. So play it louder.
Play it one more time.
Look forward to working with you, John. I mean that. You want a coffee? I don't know. Fucking Christ.
Very stupid. Very stupid. I'm ashamed that I made that.
As a longtime Sopranos fan, I love it. I think it's hilarious. So, how do you get about?
No, I love it. Huh?
So how do you go about like creating something like this in SCP 5K? Like I was impressed with like how you got the zombies in there. Did you just spawn them? Like what is your sort of like go-to process for like making something like this?
So just to be absolutely clear, this was not like I spent a whole day. Like this was like what, like not even 15 minutes. Like I threw this together. I literally went into the engine. I turn on depth of field. That's why the background looks so blurry. I dropped the green screen in. I did color grading, or I added a blue tint so it looks like they match in the scene. And I did have to do some masking here because Tony runs away, but then he's supposed to he clips by this fella right here. So I did a little bit of work. But if I would have had more time, I definitely would have put a little bit more put some more effort into it. But yeah, no, like literally, like the zombies. I think the zombies in like the water treatment room spawn in anyway. So I filmed them running up the stairs, and then he's just running into the doors. So yeah, it's very stupid, but it's funny. It's stupid, but
No,
yeah.
I think it's like a, a really funny thing. So please show us how entrepreneuring SCP 5K memers can utilize the tools that you showcased last night to create all kinds of fun SCP memes using all the green screen templates that are littered across YouTube.
Yeah, hang on a second. I just had to upload. I went ahead and uploaded the raw meme. Again, it's not finished. It's super bad, but I'm hoping if I have enough time in the future, with all the other tasks I have, that memes like that can maybe get like the people on different platforms to like, oh, what is this game? Why is Tony Soprano running away from fucking zombies?
I mean,
Let
I
me
would
see if
have. I would be nothing would make me happier than to like have you working 24/7 to churn these out. My only regret is that you've got so many your hands in so many other plates of 5K that
Yeah,
I can't
I
get you
wish I was. Okay, luckily, okay, I do have the raw file here. Let me because like I know we're going on pretty long, so we'll end up with this. So we'll quickly go over like the how I did the editing here.
Hey
So
man,
again,
people
pretty
are enjoying it.
straightforward.
We'll go as long we have no time limit. We go as long as you feel like as long as you feel
Okay.
comfortable for.
Oh yeah,
So,
I mean after this, I feel like I feel like we've already gone over a lot. But if are you
okay.
able to see the screen?
It is 1 second. Do I have to refresh it? Doing the 1 second. Let me refresh it.
Yeah. If I need to restart the stream, then I can. Here, I'll just restart the stream. I'll open up Full Studio.
Still doing the spinning dot thing.
It's unfortunate because I can hear people joining in like the screen share, so I don't know why that's happening. It's kind of cringe if I'm honest.
What are you trying to open up? Your editing
No, I mean like, it's
Adobe
open.
Premiere?
Like no, like it's here. It's loaded. I'm just waiting for you to be able to see it.
I know it's so annoying. I keep on waiting, and I'm still just getting the spinning 2 squares. Want to try one more time exiting and then
Perhaps try leaving and rejoining, maybe, because sometimes that happens.
Okay, let me try that.
I think people can see it just fine, so I don't know.
Oh, all right, yeah. Now I can see it.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah. So yeah, again the meme. I'll quickly just break it down how I do it. So if I remove Tony Soprano,
Forward to working with you.
that it's just the raw green screen, pretty bare bones, not the best. There's some obvious clipping issues. If I go ahead and if I remove the color grade. Wait, where's the color grade? That was the adjustment layer. Where is? Oh, it's this one. I apologize. Yeah, so obviously a huge contrast difference, right? They're like they're more vibrant, and now it's more blue. Again, just very simple change like that. Throw on the 5K background. If I remove Tony Soprano, then this is literally like the scene.
Still look forward to working with you, John.
Just back and forth.
You want a coffee? Well, I don't know.
It's just pretty straightforward. And then we cut to the zombies running up the stairs.
And did you just spawn the zombies in game? Is that how you're able to one thing I was kind of curious is how you were able to get that footage of the zombies running up the stairs.
The zombies. So in I don't think you can spawn in. We don't have a command to spawn in zombies, but in the so in this map specifically in the water treatment room, when you hit a button, there's a button behind this door right here that opens up the shutters, which spawns in the zombie. So I ran in there. And then that's kind of why the angle is very bad, because I had to fly over there really quickly and film them coming up the stair.
I still think it was like impressive considering the fact that you couldn't like spawn them organically.
Still look forward to working with you, John.
But yeah. So
You want a coffee?
overall pretty, and then of course added, of course, with the sound effects down here.
I just
Yeah,
find
so pretty straightforward. and then there's supposed to be more of it, but again, I didn't have time. He was supposed to run, and then a zombie or a crab was supposed to jump on him. So
how would,
people like it that much?
how would you do that though? Like getting the crab to jump on him. That sounds like
you would just I would probably, if I like on the top of my head, I'd probably get a person to fill in for me, and then they would J-cam themselves in between something so that they couldn't be seen, and the crab would do an attack animation, and then I would just match them up. Probably, like, I'm thinking something like that. Like, it's just funny. Or like the same thing goes. I'd probably rotoscope out the dog and have like something jump at him, like a resonator or something. Like, again, like stuff like that. I feel like people would really like on social media. Like, I love The Sopranos. I love horror games. Oh well, here's a Soprano meme in a horror game, like that kind of thing.
No, I don't deny it. I absolutely love it. My only complaint is that we can't just like force you to do like a meme week where you just churn these out like 24 hours a day.
Absolutely. It's funny without any audio, but yeah, no, that's the long and short of it. And then again, if I disable, it's just the raw. It's the raw and green screen data. Pretty straightforward. I don't know why it's not showing though. Yeah, like the raw green screen data. Tony Soprano running away. Probably could have had him running past security or something. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. So is there anything else you want to had in your itinerary of things you wanted to show off?
No, I think that's it. I think I've gone over the in-game camera, how our main menu, and like how we do cinematics in the editor, stuff like that. And I think I showed how the dumb memes are made, and I think I've answered everyone's question to the best of my ability. So
Any other questions about cinematics? 2Box Games, add Saul, please. There you go. Add Better Call Saul memes. I'm sure Saul would fit very well into 5K. So I guess your call. Would like to sort of wrap things up, cool things down in the next 10 minutes,
yeah.
5-10 minutes.
Yep. No. Yep. I think we're good to wrap it up. I don't think I have anything else to show or talk about, unless anyone else have any other questions regarding video, sort of cinematics, rendering stuff.
I'll give people like a few minutes to give their like but yeah, I think you all know how the tools. Just shift J to load up 5K and play with the camera. Take footage in the game and mess around with it. I nothing would make me happier to see like weird, funny memes using 5K as your basis. Especially with the new update coming. And these are all fantastic, great tools to play with. And they're all available to you with no extra microtransactions or any other BS.
Yeah, again, that's the main point of the stream. Like, I really, if you need any clarification afterwards, don't be afraid to ask me in the public Discord if you need assistance or if you need like clarification on something. I greatly encourage people to just go out and just film things, post them, take pictures, take screenshots, because people notice that kind of stuff, and I think you'll enjoy it. If you don't want to, totally understandable. There's people who like that and don't like that, but obviously, I feel like you guys wouldn't be here if you weren't someone interested in that kind of thing. So
Mockify says, no questions on my part anymore. Your work spoke for itself, to be honest. Ghost says, I love these streams. Thank you, guys. Maybe in the point 14 launch, hope you get a community stream. I'm sure that we'll definitely want to do like a larger community stream with, as many team members. The X Reaper says, I'm going to post screenshots on my Insta. So I'm glad to have given you those tools. You're always throwing in the memes. I always love to see what you come up with. So I hope this gives you tools to make even more stuff. I guess, what tutorials would you recommend for people wanting to learn about all these tools at Unreal? What kind of stuff did you use on your digital filmmaking journey?
Well, I mean, I'd be lying if I said I didn't look at videos. I can't point towards one video or again one individual. I would literally just say I know as cliche as it sounds, um, experience is the best teacher. Like again, like that's like, and I wasn't lying when I said earlier that a lot of the stuff I learned just by messing around. It may be frustrating at first, and you may not get it, but like that's, I mean, that's the way life is. You know, you have to play around, and I think you'll appreciate it more because when you do something by accident and it turns out better than the way you expected, I think that's a lot more fulfilling, and it's a lot more like it gives you more joy than sort of doing like playing things right and doing everything the way people or excuse me other people are doing it, because everyone has their own way of creativity and their own way of getting somewhere. So as cliche as it sounds, I mean that 100%. And I think people who use the camera, who like go out and do cinematics, will definitely come to find that it's very fun and enjoyable to just mess around and do your own thing.
Absolutely, and I hope all of you who bought the SCP 137B plush will use it for fun memes and use the in-game camera. I want to see stuff when you get it. And we sold another. We sold another during this live stream. We went from 61 to 62. So thank you. If any of you, someone watching, picked up a plush, thank you so much for that. And stick around for tomorrow for our Killer Toy Movie Festival, our Killer Toy Movie Night, starting at 7 p.m. EST. This has been a pleasure, Vennie. Thank you so much for taking your time away from Friday to come and hang out with the community, as well as YouTube, and show people like some of the amazing tools.
Well, yeah, no, thanks, Isaac, and thank you guys, the people who can make it. I appreciate you guys coming out. It's always good to talk and have an audience.
So I think that we've been going for an hour and a half. We got to see some really cool stuff.
Yeah, someone wrote in the chat, was pretty late. We have the YouTube, we have this archive, right? If they want to go watch it.
Yep. Just go to the YouTube and go to live streams. That's where I usually put up the live streams, cool. As long as nobody does anything controversial. There's one live stream with like producer Gabriel where we did like a game night, and like we did Jackbox, and someone did like an edgy drawing in one of the Jackbox games, and I was like, I'm not going to take a chance. I don't want anyone to try and come after a fray. So as much as I love to have that stream up, I didn't want to take the chance. But this one is completely kosher, so this one will be live for your viewing pleasure whenever you like. So you are all welcome to watch it. It will be up there in the Affray live streams.
Cool. Well,
so I will let you have a final thought, and then I will end it, and then I will sign off.
Yeah, I think that's it. Again, thank you guys for Isaac. Thanks for having me. Thank you guys for listening. And yeah, again, if you have any questions, I'm always available. So just let me know, and I will talk to you guys later. I hope you guys play around with the play around with the editor.
Awesome. And maybe we could do this again once the eventual next cinematic trailer comes out, and we can go in and take a look at it, assuming you have the file or whatnot. Thank you all for hanging out with us. It was an absolute pleasure to host you for this wonderful evening, and I hope I see many of you tomorrow night for the movie night in Discord. So with
All right,
that,
I'm gonna hit him.
then goodbye, Mr. Rodriguez. And yep, time. It's funny. I'm always like 5 million goodbyes. So thank you for hanging out with us, and see you with tomorrow with the Killer Toy Movie Night.
Okay.